It's time up for Diddy since karma is at long last doing her thing. And everything is getting up to speed to him. Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, is on a mission to bring him down unequivocally. And trust, this has gotten into a tricky situation. And I simply realize more individuals will fire facing him. Cassie just found a claim where she uncovered a portion of the poisonous and tremendously horrendous things that Diddy put her through when they were dating. And Cassie is determined to even the score. Diddy is overreacting. And he is blaming Cassie for attempting to coerce him out of millions. Kid, this is dramatization, and it's going to get chaotic. So in the claim, Cassie uncovered a few truly upsetting things, yet one of the principal things that got me snared was the point at which she uncovered in her claim that the relationship was never shared from the beginning, since she wasn't keen on Diddy that way, yet he utilized his key influential place to control and power her into dating him. Cassie was just 19, and Diddy was 37 when they began dating, not long after he marked her to his name, Awful Kid Records. So in addition to the fact that he was a more seasoned, more experienced man, he had her whole profession in his grasp, and he utilized this to compel her into a relationship with him. The insane thing here is that he was involved with Kim Dorman at the time, while Cassie was likewise seeing someone. Diddy couldn't have cared less. And he in the end figured out how to frighten Cassie's sweetheart away. And afterward, the terrible Venza started to place in setting exactly the way that terrible and serious the charges are. The court records have a trigger admonition on the absolute first page. In quite a while, Cassie proceeded to uncover that Diddy saw her in her own home after she attempted to leave him, frequently punched, thumped, kicked, and trampled her subsequent in wounds, burst lips, bruised eyes, and draining constrained her to take part in private demonstrations with males SWS while getting off on it, and recording the experiences, requested that she convey his gun in her handbag just to make her anxious and exhibit how hazardous he is, and acquainted her with a way of life of extreme liquor and substance misuse, and expected her to get illegal medicines to fulfill his own addictions. The miserable part about this is that Cassie uncovered that numerous individuals saw Diddy putting paws on her and harming her, yet not even one of them at any point talked up to guard her, or even ask as though she was oak, since they were totally alarmed by Diddy and were terrified that he would likewise hurt them in the claim. Cassie likewise guaranteed that she attempted to leave Diddy on various events. However, at that point, he was in a real sense in charge of her future. She guaranteed that each time she attempted to leave, he would have individuals calling her and telling her that she needed to return to him, or he would destroy her vocation. Yet that is not all, since Cassie then, at that point, uncovered exactly how controlling Diddy was to her. He constrained her to move out of her loft and leased one for her near his home in LA, since he needed her nearby consistently. He additionally leased her a condo in Manhattan, near his New York home, for similar explanation. His controlling nature was terrible, to the point that Cassie uncovered that he went similar to controlling her medical checkups and would have her well-being records sent straightforwardly to him. The court record said on numerous events, Mr. Combs had Miss Venter's very own clinical records sent straightforwardly to his email address. For example, when Miss Venter started encountering memory LW, possibly due to exorbitant or potentially head wounds brought about by Mr. Coles, as portrayed beneath her X-ray results, were given straightforwardly to Mr. Com. Like that is not screwed up sufficient. Cassie additionally uncovered how Diddy would invest hands on all her energies. He was vexed on one event she recorded in a claim she and Diddy had been out at a party with Jay-Z, and for reasons unknown, he blew up at her at the party, and he brought it out on her coming back home. Mr. Combs Miss Venter over and again in a quintessence escalade, including by kicking and hitting her. He constrained her out of the vehicle on 5th and in New York City. She was ultimately ready to flag down a taxi and get to her loft in Manhattan. There's additionally the time Cassie had an easygoing discussion with a music chief in a club And Diddy blew up in light of the fact that he was not going to let Cassie beyond his control. And when they were returning, Mr. Combs thumped Miss Venter, driving her into an edge of the vehicle and baffling all over when the vehicle showed up at Mr. Combs' home. MVOR endeavored to take off, yet Mr. Combs followed her and continued to again kick her in the face. Miss Venter was draining bountifully and was guided into Mr. Combs' home, where she started to hurl from the vicious occurrence, yet it deteriorates from here, since Cassie then described how Diddy would drive her to attach with different men. While he watched and got off on watching, she asserted that Diddy employed male people of color to lay down with her while he watched and got off on that she uncovered that he used to allude to those experiences as oddity-offs or foes. And he used to call her whenever he wished and constrained her to take part in the foes. He even hauled her out of her 29th birthday celebration party and constrained her to take part in one since he needed to. He would likewise give her loads of during the foes. Since that was the main way, she had the option to force herself to participate in them. The claim said Mr. Combs consistently supply Miss Venter with plentiful measures of previously and during the foes, which permitted her to disassociate during these awful experiences. It became normal spot to get IV liquids in the days after a foe to recuperate from the inordinate substances pushed upon her. She likewise guaranteed that Diddy then constrained her to enlist the men from escort sites, select men with BEPs, and afterward compel her to perform foes with the men. He additionally recorded the foes and will drive her to watch the recordings just to advise her that he has something to hold over her head, assuming she at any point attempted to go to the police or uncover him. He likewise made reinforcements of the recordings, so despite the fact that she erased the recordings on various occasions, he will recuperate the recordings. Like I said, Cassie attempted to leave 2 or multiple times, yet it was generally fruitless. As per the claim, she attempted to leave Diddy at some point in 2011, and she began dating Kid Psy anyway. One night, Diddy constrained her into another phone meeting, and he found messages and messages from Kid Kai on her telephone, and he threatened to unalive youngster Kai. The court records composed that Mr. Combs told Miss Venter that he planned to explode Kid C's vehicle, and that he needed to guarantee that Kid Kai was home with his companions when it occurred. Around that time, Kid C's vehicle detonated in his carport. There have been bits of gossip about Diddy being a miscreant for quite a long time, yet we didn't realize that he was this awful in light of the fact that this is a straight-up shocking tale. Well, Cassie at long last decided to leave in 2018. Diddy had broken into her condo, pulsated her up, and saw her despite the fact that she over and over implored him not to. This was the straw that broke the camel's back for herself, and she at last figured out how to break liberated from his control and control. She went through long stretches of treatment and furthermore battled with habit due to how much substance and liquor that Diddy had constrained on her in the 10 years that they were together. Well, Cassie at last dared to shout out, and she of a hazardous claim against him 2 or 3 days prior. She additionally put out an announcement saying, after years peacefully in obscurity, I'm at long last prepared to recount my story and to make some noise for myself, and to help different ladies who face brutality and in their connectionships with the termination of New York's grown-up survivors. Move quickly, moving toward plainly. This was a valuable chance to make some noise about the injury I have encountered, and that I will recuperate from until the end of my life. Well, Diddy has answered the charges by means of his lawyer, who said he passionately denies these hostile and ludicrous charges. Miss Venter's interest of $30 million, under the danger of composing a harming book about their relationship, was unequivocally dismissed as explicit extortion. Regardless of pulling out her underlying danger, Miss Venter has now turned to documenting a claim filled with unmerited and preposterous untruths, intending to discolor Mr. Combs' standing and looking for a payday. The intriguing part about this is that the new subtleties have become known that uncovered Diddy for purportedly attempting to take care of Cassie. Her legal counselors uncovered this platitude. Mr. Combs offered Miss Venter 8 figures to quiet her and forestall the recording of this claim. She dismissed his endeavors and chose to give a voice to all ladies who experience peacefully. Miss Venter ought to be extolled for her boldness. Well, this is crazy and true to form. Fans had a ton to say regarding this, and they left remarks like Cassie isn't even a hint of something larger with regards to Diddy's frightful self. I'm asking his male casualties dare to approach as well. And I'm not discussing Usher. I want to endure Diddy will be more awful than R. Kelly. Diddy's reps are attempting to go with the Cassie is seeking blackmail Diddy for cash to feed when he attempted to make do with 8 figures. And she said no likewise who might need to uncover something like being dealt and harmed for cash. The subtleties are jolting. And in the event that there's disarray on why Cassie dismissed the